Why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay?
Okay. With that logic, why should people who want to abolish the police and end mass incarceration and the entire prison industrial complex have to pay for that? I mean, I don't pay taxes, but if I did, I would have no problem paying for your fucking student loans. I do have a problem with paying for pigs and war, endless fucking war and suffering. I don't want to pay for that. So MAGA, is this the fucking America you were envisioning?
All right, guys, welcome to episode 12 of the Good Faith Show. The A&M podcast. I'm your host, Andre, and Mike, and our special guest our first guest is Willie Bragg. What's up, Willie?
Hey, how's everybody today?
Hey.
Doing good. What's your thoughts on that video I just played?
If I can use foul language on this show,
go ahead.
Yeah, we're fucked. That's the best way to describe it. This is what America voted for in November, and we're just screwed as hell.
Well, it's not so much that America voted for it as the other party couldn't be bothered to run a candidate anyone could actually get behind it. It's like, Trump didn't win so much as Harris lost, but that's been true of Democrats as long as I've been alive, and I turn 51 next month.
Yeah, I just turned 56 last month, and I've seen that happening since pretty much throughout my voting life, starting with Bill Clinton. I've seen what I called Reaganization of the Democratic Party, and I've seen the Republican Party turn from the party of Reagan, which was bad enough, into something that's objectively fascist today. So,
yeah. Well, when the Democrats hit their national convention last summer, it was like watching the old film reels of the Nuremberg rallies.
Well,
when the only difference between the two major political parties is one is Hitler, the other is Mussolini, and it's getting increasingly difficult to tell which is which. That's bad.
Yeah, when you have a political party that's sitting around, bumping fists with Dick and Liz Cheney. Dick and Liz Cheney, who were the toast of Rush Limbaugh 20 years ago, and now being embraced by Kamala Harris. There was just no way I could vote for that. So I voted for Jill Stein. No regrets.
Yeah, Joseph Kishore here. I voted for Jill Stein in 2012 and 2016. Blew off Howie Hawkins because he was a Russia-hating piece of shit. Stole the nomination, much like the Democrats had stolen the nomination from Bernie Sanders in 2016. I won't go too much into that. It's a long story, but this year I voted for Joseph Kishore of the Socialist Equality Party because that they were the only party really running on a platform to address the ongoing pandemic. Because even Jill Stein and Cornel West and Claudia De La Cruz, three people I otherwise admire greatly, even they were kind of pandering to the COVID deniers. We keep getting a report showing the level of damage that this novel virus does to the human body, including the brain, which is why you're seeing a lot more instances of accidents, more aggressive behaviors, because people with brain damage, not only do they suffer poorer judgment and poor risk assessment skills, but it also causes changes to their behavior in terms of aggression.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully, I didn't get the COVID virus. Well, didn't get it yet anyway.
Yeah, I've been wearing N95s or better whenever I go out. In fact, when I went to the Philippines last year, I refused to remove my respirator because even though the flight attendants kept offering me food and drink, it's like, I'm not taking this thing off here. The whole plane's a breeding ground for bacteria and viruses.
Yeah, I agree.
Guy next to me on the way there was coughing up a storm.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the guy that owned the gym I go to was coughing up and puking in the gym. So the guy that runs the place, so I'm pretty sure he possibly has the COVID. So
Yeah,
yeah,
or measles or
yeah,
H5N1.
measles.
God knows what else is out there that we've
Yeah,
brought back because not only do people reject the COVID vaccines, but they're rejecting measles vaccines, flu vaccines, norovirus, whooping cough.
yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if bubonic plague were to come back.
Oh my God, I've been trying to get my mama to take those vaccines. Her pharmacy called her yesterday and she told me that asked her, "Did she want to take them?" I said, "Hell yeah, go ahead, take them. Like, what you waiting for?" You know how boomers
Yeah,
are,
I'm
man.
hoping Novavax gets approved for its next iteration because that actually seems to work better than the
Yeah,
Pfizer and Moderna vaccines.
yeah. I heard about that too.
Well, when it came to the vaccines, I mean, I was skeptical, not because I was pandering to the conspiracy theorists. I mean, because it was done so fast.
Yeah, that's
Well, yeah,
I kind of
I get
hesitated
it.
myself, but I finally broke down and got it in
Me
April of
too.
2021. But that was like Pfizer, and then I think I got one Moderna booster. But once Novavax became available, I was getting that. So
With the truckers strike that was going on in Canada, and I
well, that
thought,
wasn't a strike; that was a terror campaign. It was a little Ben Norton over at Geopolitical Economy Report back when he was still at the Gray Zone, and then switched to Multipolarista. Uh, he dug into that, and it turns out it's a completely astroturf terror campaign.
well, okay, I I believe you. What I was just saying that everybody who was strike refusing to take the vaccine, what I'm trying to say, it could have been possibly easily resolved if the Canadian government would. That's what I was going to say. If they would have said, "Hey, we would give you $2,000 if you take the vaccine," give people an incentive.
Yeah,
It's not
they
a
could
bad
have
idea.
done that. They didn't. Uh, but speaking of, uh, Mike Carney lucked out that he got an opponent worse than Holocaust terrorists running against him.
Oh yeah.
Because when you've got Caligula Drumpf at the southern border saying we're going to annex Canada, and then the Frenchie comes in running like he's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, on
liberal
the
voters in Canada still have an ounce of pride left. Not
on the
much, but some.
On the
Yeah.
downside, though, the NDP, the New Democratic Party, lost a lot of seats because everybody was fearing the Liberals. And I'm thinking, okay, if the NDP is your MP and you're writing, you could still vote for that person for reelection. I mean, but everybody went to the Liberals out of fear of the Conservatives. And yeah, I don't like the Conservatives in Canada any more than the Republicans, but I've
Yeah,
always said.
Pierre Poilievre, however you pronounce his last name, he did so badly, he lost his own seat in the parliament. So he's not even going to be returning to parliament.
That's
He held that
crazy.
seat for 20 years unchallenged.
Yeah. Well, I understand that Jagmeet Singh lost his seat in Parliament.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
I heard that too.
yeah. So, well, I mean, at least Canada's not under Tory hands. I'm glad of that. But
Yeah.
just
For what it's worth, I mean, the Liberal Party is really not at all liberal. In fact,
No.
actually, I'm kind of fed up with people throwing around the word liberal so carelessly whenever they mean to refer to Democrats because they're not liberals. It's like all you have to do is open up a freaking dictionary, read the definition, and ask take any Democrat and compare that Democrat's policies. Like, forget the rhetoric for a second. Like the actual policies that the politician votes for once in office. Can you, in any way, apply any of the definition of the word liberal to that Democrat? Nope.
Nope.
You can apply the word conservative to that Democrat
Yeah.
or fascist, especially when it comes to clown shoes like Fetterman.
Yeah, that's talk about a disappointment. Fetterman was one, and I was cheering to Fetterman 3 years ago when the right wing thought he was the worst thing in the world, and everybody saw him as the new Bernie. And he just did a total turnaround. Of course, I'm not impressed with Bernie anymore either.
Sorry, but if your standard operating uniform is a hoodie with shorts and jogging shorts at that,
Oh my God.
no,
Yeah.
you're no one to be taken seriously. Okay, wear some freaking jeans with that hoodie. All right.
Yeah. Please. For goodness sake. So
I
Willie
didn't
Brett,
mind. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you go ahead. You go ahead, man.
I didn't mind him wearing the basketball shorts and hoodie as long as he kept the message he originally ran on. I mean, he was creating a brand for himself. But now I'm like, no, go ahead, put on a fucking suit like everybody else. Yeah, I mean, you're just now a suit and tie. So
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect anything really from a guy who had a reputation for chasing down unarmed black men in his neighborhood
Oh yeah,
for
yeah,
no
yeah.
reason.
When I heard that, I'm like, yeah, this guy's a joke. He's a joke. Willie, I got another video for you to watch. Just watch it, and if you want to interrupt in between, go ahead. It's just about like a minute and some change, but here we go.
Is losing. Do you all not realize that? You're acting like we have all the time in the world for infighting. We're not losing to the regular Republican Party. We are losing to fascists and dictators. We don't have time for this, oh, but Bernie Sanders didn't say free Palestine. Our one and only priority right now needs to be getting a fascist out of power. Then we can worry about the rest of it. I'm so serious. We are losing. I heard today, oh, but Bernie Sanders and AOC aren't anti-capitalism enough. They're as anti-capitalist as they can possibly be while still being elected, while still retaining any form of power. What are you talking about? We're losing.
What's your thoughts, man?
I don't know. I tuned out after she said that bullshit about free Palestine. So, I mean, come on. If you cannot stand up against a genocide,
Yeah.
what use are you to any kind of leftist movement?
yeah, and what it is
Fucking
objective
grow up.
genocide. It is a genocide.
I mean, that's the same kind of bullshit talking points that Democrats gave us last year trying to push Biden and then Harris on us. It didn't work. Okay?
No,
If your only response to opposition to genocide is to say we can worry about that later, we have to get no. Fuck you. Shut up. Go away.
Retired. Oh goodness. Yeah.
I have a katana, and I'm not afraid to use it against clown shoes like that.
Yeah.
A little top off the shoulders.
Yeah.
From now on, any clown shoes who start in with that bullshit, oh, we can worry about Palestine. No. I did not grow out my hair into a ponytail for 4 years and get a leather duster to go with my katana because I never had my Highlander mole ninja phase when I was in my 20s. Okay, I didn't go through all that just to waste that katana. No, it is still there in the corner waiting to be used against any asshole who wants to start bitching about how we can work for trans rights or Palestine or the environment later. We have to no. If our own supposedly elected progressive movement leaders like Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez, if they cannot so much as stand up against a genocide, they are fucking useless. If they won't even defend protesters being hauled out of a public event by the pigs and say, hey, leave those people alone or I'll have your job. If they can't even do that bare minimum, what makes you think they're going to stand up for us or fight for us?
Exactly. Hey Willie, your mic is muted again. Yeah, it's muted. Just leave out and come back in. Just try that again. Okay. Yeah, man, you're right. Like, yeah, part of that video that really threw me off when she said that people are mad at Bernie because he didn't say free Palestine. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I just tuned
that,
out after that because I was like,
me
oh
too.
god, it's just
Me too.
another fucking Karen. It's just the only difference between her and her comrades is that she's not in her car screaming at the top of her lungs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I covered that on my show. I'm like, yeah,
Like, oh my
yeah.
god, dude,
These these people are literally psychopaths, dude. Like,
they are, they are,
and then,
are so fucking smooth brained because
yeah,
they're so lost in their little bubbles where the only thing that's important to them is winning no matter. It's like vote blue no matter who. It's like that has not worked in 50 years.
exactly.
It didn't work in '84 when Mike Dukakis ran. No, wait, that was in '88, I think. Now, who was it? No, was it Dukakis who ran in '84 or no? That was no. Gary Hart ran in '88, I think. Oh no, maybe it was both of them. I forget who.
Yeah, I
But
think.
but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Still can't hear you, Willie. Yeah,
yeah. Try unplugging your mic and plugging it back in. See if that works.
yeah, yeah. It's his mic right there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand technical difficulties, obviously. Uh, yeah, yeah. Let me see what he said. He said,
But yeah,
yeah,
this is pisses me off whenever I hear clown shoes like that because it just betrays a complete and total lack of self awareness.
yeah, man. It does. It really does. And it's like, I mean, one thing that gets me about the Bernie LC thing is that it's just getting more people that probably tune out of politics back into think that shit will work like it's fucking 2015. Like,
Yeah, it's like Emma Vigeland shit right there.
yeah, I was about to say that, and I'm like, I'm like, the goal of that oligarchy tour is to sheep her y'all back into the Democratic Party. Like people think like
Yeah,
like
and even
oligarchy.
now Bernie refuses to say that running as independent outside the Democrat Party. It's like no. You absolutely need to run. Okay, that there's this uh, bit in an unreasonable documentary made in the 2000s where Lawrence O'Donnell. Uh, there's this clip of him saying, if you want to affect the Democrats, that is to get them to come around to your way of thinking, you have to convince them that you're capable of not voting for them, whether it's third party or independent. Just staying home is not enough. You need to actually run aggressive, hyper aggressive, and in a third party candidates against them, such that they are visibly seen to lose to those candidates, not just lose because of spoiler. No, make that candidate be a spoiler. And
Exactly.
welcome back, Willie.
Okay.
Willa.
Can y'all hear me this time?
No, I
Loud and clear,
cannot hear
man.
you asking if we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hi. Yeah, I don't know
Okay,
what the hell's
that was,
going on. If this one conks out, this is the third computer I've used tonight, but
oh,
it's my
Yeah.
final computer too.
yeah, I hear you. Mine is on its last legs. My laptop died years ago. I mean, it technically still works, but it's still got Windows 7 on it, and just trying to get it to run is Yeah. So, God willing, if I start my new job soon, because I just filled out the electronic paperwork today. But if I'm able to save up any appreciable money, maybe I could get myself some extra storage on my drive. Maybe get some new innards, make it into a whole new setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry about the computer situation tonight. So
It's okay.
yeah,
It's
It
I
okay,
happens,
had
man.
man.
I had a guest on my show a couple of months ago, and I had a lot of problems. I was like, "Oh gosh, this is so embarrassing."
Yeah,
And
well,
then
that's us being poor. Well, I was thinking, if we can do a pitch for our own independent media, kind of, we just need to find someone like Jeffrey Katzenberg, who is not a total scumbucket,
Yeah.
to give us $35 million or however much it's going to take to launch it, and say, okay, look, this is our network. Uh, we use the money wisely. We do our own thing, and then network it together. But you don't do it like the Young Turks. It's got to be decentralized. No one person controls all the purse strings or the equipment. Just put it into an account or something that people can dip into, but not too much.
yeah, I've always thought that we could do something decentralized that can kind of get people together to that to get people familiarized with each other in independent media where everybody's sort of helping each other out and reaching out to a wider audience with our message.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what Chunk Yokert and Anal Casper supposedly started out to do, and ended up just kind of taking over, and it's like our way or the highway, and we're going to go right and become Blue MAGA.
Yeah, and I was a TYT person for many, many years, and uh, I would say between RussiaGate and rejection of forced to vote and a conspiracy attack on Aaron Mate from the Gray Zone and their feud with Jimmy Dore, and even though
Yeah,
he's kind
although to be fair, Jimmy Dore also went off the deep end, pandering to the extreme right, because he decided to make his grift based on pandering to Red MAGA, whereas the rest of TYT pandered to Blue MAGA, but they're all still pandering to MAGA.
Yeah.
well, I would say in 2021 he was still doing positive things. Yeah, I agree. Lately, he's not.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
once you start going down the COVID rabbit hole, you start getting dragged into all sorts of other batshit stuff. I'm a veteran of the internet discussion forums of the early 2000s, and the liberal discussion forums that were out there, they're trying to have a discussion with the extreme right, and they crack down harder on actual liberals like me than they ever do the conservatives, because God forbid we should alienate the other side. And then you see them, start dropping their liberal pretenses and embrace a conservative ideology one by one until they are just conservatives. And that's what
Well,
happens when you try to have a civil discussion with the extreme right, because the extreme right demands nothing less than 100% concurrence. And if you don't, then they accuse you of being uncivil, and then they don't want to have anything to do with you. And then you're shut
Right.
out, and then you have no audience beyond whatever you're trying to compete for with the other left YouTubosphere, such as it is.
yeah,
So it's a catch-22 situation.
yeah. Actually, I've seen Shank and Anna sort of doing the little grift too. I mean, I don't have a problem with talking to turds like Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk. I have a problem when they do this. Well, you're right. Everybody on the left is wrong and evil attitude. And Dave Rubin kind of started that shit years ago.
Yeah.
And, just it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just old enough to no longer give a fuck what people think about me, because I'm like, look, this is the internet, okay? I've lived with roommates who are generally violent psychopaths who very well could have killed me, and are probably just a hair's breadth away from doing just that. So, internet bullies don't scare me.
Me either. I don't give a fuck. That's the mood I be. I don't care what nobody say about me. I just do my thing, and if you don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
I've
how you should
probably
have.
been blocked by half of left Twitter anyway. So
Yeah, left Twitter hates me for some reason. I don't know why. Like I don't
yeah,
give a
well,
fuck.
it gets to a point where people get into their insular little bubbles, and then the Fed infiltrators like Dreaded J or Vosh or whomever get
Yeah,
involved, and they start stirring up personality disputes and weaponizing identity politics. And there's a documentary that Michael Moore did, Fahrenheit 9/11, where he had this segment where an anti-war group was rather shocked to find out that one of its members was actually an undercover sheriff's deputy, and they found that out when they saw a news story about him being killed in the line of duty.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just done for physical gatherings; it's also done now in internet settings like Twitter, where
Twitter's the
you can
worst.
you can tell who the feds are by the way they stir shit up all the time and exploit people's petty grievances.
I've heard
Yeah,
that rumor about Bosch being a Fed. So, just.
Me too.
Oh, I'm 99% sure he's a Fed. I'm only
Yeah,
half
Fed.
convinced that Dreaded J is a Fed.
And I'm trying to
The
think.
Dreaded J claims to be a black trans woman and has his little clique of followers who basically criticize Jay, you're a racist, or if you fail to donate money to Jay, you're a racist, and then they start hounding you, threatening to eat your pets, doxing you. I mean, when Keppels was trying to take down Kiwi Farms, which is this hyper transphobic bunch of officers and stalkers, they were doxing Keppels and getting her swatted and threatening her. No, it wasn't her pet they were threatening to eat. One of the people following her account, they're to eat her pet pig, but they seriously got her sent to rehab, and then Vosh stepped in and kind of took advantage of that and brought her into his far right Nazi simping circle. Because you notice a lot of these supposedly leftist accounts like Vosh and Keppels are violently anti-communist and have way too much sympathy for Ukrainian Nazis.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the broader left, and I have a friend that's like he's really supportive of the Ukrainian cause, and I explained to him why he shouldn't be, and and we're still friends, but he dismisses that and everything, and
I'm half Polish, so fuck Ukraine. Also, I've got my master's in history, so I know a little bit something about World War II, it being one of my passions. So if you look up the Volhynia massacre that went on from 1943 to 1945, the Nazi Ukrainians were basically clearing out Volhynia and Eastern Galicia, doing ethnic cleansing. Hundreds of thousands of Polish citizens slaughtered, men, women, children. The Ukrainians were so horrific in their crimes that even the Germans were like, whoa.
Yeah. And here's the thing: when the coup took place 11 years ago, they used to report about the neo-Nazis in the Ukraine, and then they covered it up when Russia went into the Ukraine. They're like, "Oh, what? That's that's like having a bunch of skinheads up in Idaho." And besides, Volodymyr Zelensky is Jewish. Okay, Volodymyr Zelensky.
You act as though there's no such thing as a Jewish collaborator. You dump it. Read your freaking history.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Saying that he's Jewish, it's like saying, well, Barack Obama is president, and they're skinheads in Idaho. I mean, two things can be true at the same time. But the thing is that they hid it. they just hit it, and they were like, so they were, and people were sitting there dismissing like there was no neo-Nazi crisis going on in the Ukraine. Of course, there is.
Yeah, and you don't have to support Vladimir Putin or Russia to understand how and why that war came about, and that Russia does have legitimate concerns and grievances, because Ukraine spent 8 years relentlessly shelling the Donbass republics, trying to clear them out, because Ukraine has an obsession with land. They don't give a shit about the people, but they figure if they can clear the land of the people who live on it and commit genocide, wipe them out, then that'll remove any claim that those people have to the land, because there's no people left to inhabit it.
My understanding is that Ukraine's actually more authoritarian than Russia, because they have banned collective bargaining. They have banned 11 political parties, including the Social Democratic Party and Communist Party. They have banned the Russian Orthodox Church. Their treatment of LGBTQ is as bad, if not worse, than it is in Russia.
But there's a cis guy pretending to be what all transphobes think all trans women look like, trolling people about Gonzalo Lira, who was a Ukrainian intelligence asset since April of 2022.
Right.
Yeah, and they got that.
Because nobody just escapes from a Ukrainian prison or gets let out without being a complete and total tool of the SPG. Or FG, or whatever acronym it's called. But yeah, Lira was compromised the moment he was let out of prison the first time.
Yeah.
But they use that cis guy. All he has to do is like put on a wig and a stuffed bra and talk in a feminine gay voice or whatever to troll the transphobes like Scott Ritter or the Duran or whoever they want to pander to, just so that they can pretend that they're all open and tolerant towards trans people. And then, of course, that gets the trans people, a lot of trans activists siding with Ukraine against Russia, even though the Ukrainian Nazis would just as soon haul the trans people off to camps, like they're trying to do over in the United Kingdom right now.
Yeah. As I said, I went to a protest 2 years ago called Rage Against the War Machine, and just
you have my pity.
Well, I mean, I know it was controversial, but still, the anti-war message. And I met some important people out there. I don't know if it was a total waste of time, but
I mean, it ended up getting hijacked by the transphobes and the COVID-idiots and the people who have a hate-filled rage boner for China for some reason. Even though they're pretending to be communists, you get people like Hacks and Stinkle who pretend to be leftists, but they're trying to do like MAGA communism. It's a contradiction in terms.
I didn't agree. It's like I told Fiorella Isabel when I had her on my show. I didn't agree with every single person that spoke at Rage Against the War Machine. There were quite a few speakers out there that I was just like, and he was one of them. I stopped listening years ago. So
yeah, well, I was never a fan of Hacks and Stinkle. He's definitely a Fed too. I'm convinced he's a Fed on the payroll.
I think
this is the guy who's praising African coup leaders for passing laws mandating the death penalty for gay people.
Oh, you're talking about like in Uganda?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is unthinkable. With that,
but we're supposed to believe this guy's a leftist? No, I mean, they're not even being subtle about it anymore.
Yeah. Well, the red flag for me was when he got on Tucker Carlson and he didn't sound one bit leftist on the show, and I'm thinking, okay,
because they understand what you have to say and what you're not allowed to say. And they're not going to jeopardize their chance to reach their target audience by actually disagreeing with the host. I, on the other hand, have no problem getting disinvited from shows if I get invited on, because I will say the truth, regardless of whether or not these assholes want to hear it. And I have no problem calling them fucking idiots and liars to their faces. Which is why I am not a very big YouTuber, because automatically, I just know anyone watching this, even in passing, listening to me say this, will say, "Oh yeah, never going on Jimmy Dore, never going to get invited onto any major leftist podcast, because I'm just going to call out everyone."
Me too.
Who starts spouting bullshit.
Yeah, I went on JB show, but I think that's probably the only significant. He left
I
the
would
show.
love to get on to JB and Sabby and Rome, minus Nick Cruz, because he's problematic in my opinion, but the others are okay.
Yeah, I'll be in cool. Shout out to him, by the way.
Yeah, I was on JB's show a couple of years ago, and he's been on my show as well. He's doing better with his kidney transplant.
Yeah, I read about that, and I'm so glad. But it's like, please, for the love of God, don't give him COVID there or any other infection, because they've dropped all mitigation in the hospitals, so they're COVID breeding grounds.
Right.
Yeah. But as I said, he's a good guy. I enjoyed talking with him, and we were. I amused him when I talked about the special list for the Ukraine. The one controversial person that didn't match that was on the list, and it surprises a lot of people. And this person's no longer alive, and that was Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger was on that Myra Barrett's list for the Ukraine.
Yeah, Kissinger is the last person I would ever trust to talk about anything.
No,
Boy lied so easily about everything that you just cannot. And one of the things that really I find interesting is that almost universally these right-wingers love to talk your ear off like nonstop to prevent you from speaking, because they know the moment they let up and you start telling the truth, their entire argument folds like a cheap lawn chair. So their entire shtick. In fact, I a few years ago now, I had a debate with some Vosh wannabe who was trying to defend Biden, and although I did kind of flub on some of the crime statistics from the 80s, but I pretty much took him to school and got him to admit, okay, yeah, fine, you win. But he was trying to make like Hacks and Stinkle and open up to like having further discussions, and I'm like, no, I'm shutting that shit down. Why?
Yeah.
I'm not giving you a platform.
Yeah.
It wasn't Dylan Burns, was it?
You know what? I don't remember. It's still up on my YouTube channel, The Left Independent. If you go look up on YouTube, The Left Independent, it's from a few years ago. But it's under like Vosh wannabe tries and fails to defend Biden or some stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, guys like this, they've got this down to a practice where it's like they'll talk over you and interrupt you to the point where other people can't get a word in edgewise. But I'm the kind of guy who's like, I've got no problem using the mic and the mute button to shut that shit down, because you're not going to talk over me on my own show.
Yeah, some people like to do that. That's how they try to win. They have a knack of talking over people and raising their voice and everything. And I've had that happen to me where I'm kind of a relatively polite person, but actually somebody did that to work a few months ago to me, and I snapped, and that person got scared of me when
that's actually the problem for the left, is that we're too polite,
too nice. Yes, exactly.
It's like I don't know if you've ever watched that TV show Z Nation that ran from like what was it, like 08 to 2011 or something like that. But one of the primary characters had this metal baseball bat with these spikes attached to kill zombies with. If you can make a real life functioning version of that, That's what you need to use if you're a leftist going up to try and have a conversation with right wingers.
Yeah.
Be ready to swing that fucker
Yeah.
and bury it in some skulls, because we should not and never should have played nice with the extreme right.
Yeah.
Because every time we
I agree.
try, we end up getting treated like dirt.
Yeah.
And when they
Yeah.
threaten us with physical violence, and now with the deportation policy, I mean, they're arresting judges now.
Oh, yeah.
There's an article here in the Washington Post. I'll link you to it. But now they're using the United States Postal Service to try and go ahead and identify immigrants so they can deport them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
The time for
yeah,
playing nice is over.
Yeah. I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. I don't like playing nice with these folks. I mean, it's because just it's kind of humiliating to go ahead and play nice with these people, and they still punch you down. I know. I actually do get it. Yeah, been there, done that, and know the feeling.
Yeah, and the most annoying ones are the ones who use the passive aggressive bullshit. I just respond to that with outright aggression, because as far as I'm concerned, there's no real substantive difference between outright aggression and passive aggression. One is designed to give you plausible deniability when people start lying to you and trying to gaslight you. And I just get right back up in their faces and say, shut the fuck up, asshole. You're not going to fucking lie to me. And I'm not under any obligation to be civil to you when you insult my intelligence by lying to me. Because
I have
if
one
you're lying to
person-
me, you're assuming I'm too stupid to know I'm being lied to.
Exactly.
I had one person that told me that he was willing to support the issues that were dear to me if I could just give up, just give up supporting trans rights and LBG, gay rights.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
Lock and load.
Oh my
well, here's
God.
the thing. I mean, I support these issues. I don't wear it on my sleeve and broadcast it nonstop. But if you know me, you know I support LGBTQ rights. And I support the rights of all people.
Yeah,
And,
so do I. In spite of
Same here.
some of the more extreme wackos who call me transphobic for using neo-pronouns. It's like, sorry, no, but I have a problem with pluralizing individuals, okay? I find it dehumanizing, and I won't do it. But if you're an activist and you're trying to gain allies, and you're more concerned with whether or not someone used a singular personal pronoun that's gender neutral versus a plural personal pronoun, it is far more awkward in my education and experience than simply using a neo pronoun. Then you've got bigger problems, and I can help you with. But you want to exclude people from being allies. I mean, we don't stop being allies. I don't, certainly.
Right.
But if you're going to exclude people from attending rallies or engaging in mutual aid because, I don't like that you didn't pluralize me, so I'm going to label you a transphobe and get you shadow banned on Blue Sky.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, the right winger who will tell me that they're willing to support my cause if I give up some of the what you call the identity politics or what have you. And I mean, I'm probably if people listen to me, I sound more class reductionist. It's not that I'm a class reductionist, but I mean that's I do talk a lot more about class.
I just tell them, bye-bye, fuck off. That's what I do, because I've stopped watching Scott Ritter, a couple of other channels, simply because they brought up shit that was like for me. It's like one is like on trans people and LGBTQIA rights generally, and the other is when you speak in defense of Daniel Penny and call Jordan Neely a thug. It's like a mentally ill homeless man whose only crime was crying out for help because he was hungry. It's like, bye-bye, Brian Berletic. Fuck off.
Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. Shit. I agree.
I mean, the only member of the Duran I have any respect for is Alexander Mercouris, and even he is problematic because while he's good at regurgitating stuff that he reads off of other people's blogs and reporting on some of the insider stuff, but he just sucks so much dog shit when it comes to evaluating politicians and politics. And I get that he's a conservative, but when you've got a fascist party like Alternative for Germany threatening to come into power, and he's saying they're not all that radical, it's like, bitch, they're threatening to do to Muslims over there what we're now doing over to immigrants over here.
Elon Musk said that basically Alternative for Germany is basically like the Barack Obama era Democratic Party.
No. That's like saying Mussolini. What was the sane and rational one compared to Hitler? It's like they were both fucking nightmare-inducing clown shoes.
Yeah.
Like, how do you justify a statement like that?
Yeah. I mean,
the Democrats back then weren't as open as they are now in hating on Muslims.
Yeah. One last topic. Obviously I know Fox News is the Trump Defense Network, right? And I saw this graphic on Instagram, and I just had to share this. It's like, Trump 100 days, right? And this is all that Fox News can say what he accomplished.
And he didn't even really declassify the JFK files.
I know.
He only got 2 out of 3.
Okay, ended the production of the penny. I did not know that actually.
Supposedly, but
yeah, I heard it.
That are still in circulation are still going around, but honestly, why? You act as though tax isn't a thing, like sales tax.
Actually, I tell you the truth, I don't have a problem with ending the production of the penny when it comes to counting up things. If you round it up a nickel more or a nickel less, it might make accounting easier.
Yeah, I just think it's a distraction away from like more important stuff, like ending daylight savings time. He promised to end that, and we're still in daylight savings time.
They forgot to add the other accomplishment: crash the Social Security system.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
They're going to town looting that.
And, laying off people, staffers, and all of that. And
now they're redirecting people to go onto Twitter.
Oh, geez.
To handle their Social Security claims. It's like,
oh my God, Twitter already a shithole. Then you're gonna that's gonna go well. That's gonna go well.
It's like most of the seniors who need to handle their claims don't know the first thing about Twitter.
Exactly.
No, and that's why they did it. I mean, that's why it was done.
Yeah, it's basically all designed to prevent people from even signing up for Social Security benefits in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
which means people can't afford to retire, so they'll have to work until they die, or their bodies are physically no longer able to move.
No, capitalism won't. They won't. They
and
won't
they'll end up
retire
homeless
comfortably
because they can't work anymore.
I'm less than 6 years away from retirement, and so right now I'm not too happy with them trying to fuck with Social Security.
Yeah, I never really expected to be able to retire anyway, but
yeah, I ain't gonna retire either. Yeah, by the time I get retirement age.
Yeah, the boomers fucked us over.
For 20
they
years.
Got theirs and decided, Gen X and afterward, you're on your own.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have a union job for 20 years, so I can retire, but I'm just right now, just seeing what they have done to Social Security, and so just it's a little questionable. It's dicey right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
they're trying to destroy as much as they can, so that way, when the Democrats return to power, uh, they'll nominate some dweeb like Biden or Pete Buttigieg, who won't even try to restore all the shit that the Republicans wrecked.
Yeah, they gonna. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, y'all know about all that
They never,
research that
because the
Trump cut?
Democrats never actually try to rebuild anything. That they just
Nah.
they just pretend to try and prevent things from getting worse, but they never actually try to reverse any of the shit that the Republicans do.
No, not at all.
Oh,
I
now it's
learned
up
that.
to time. We have to wait till we get a filibuster-proof majority. It's like, bitch, make those fuckers filibuster.
Exactly.
Make them physically shut. No, look, I don't believe in getting rid of the filibuster. Okay, I'm regularly getting into arguments with people who don't believe in democracy, but who rail against a filibuster as though democracy is simply an up or down vote without any discussion or debate. And I'm telling you right now, it's like these people do not know what the hell they're talking about. First of all, the filibuster was designed specifically to hold up legislation so that you give the public time enough to weigh in on the matter and put pressure on their representatives and say, look, we've heard enough. We want you to pass this, or no, what we're hearing we don't like. We don't want you passing this. Stop it. All right, because democracy does not exist without substantive democratic debate. And Cory Booker's little stunt recently, something like what, 25 hours or whatever. If he had actually filibustered an actual bill that was up, then he could have gained some actual credibility.
Oh, he did that just because he wants to run for president in 2028.
Yeah.
That's really what it came down to.
I agree.
It's not happening.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And I'll tell you
We're
one
going to be
reason.
stuck with couch fucker Vance for 8 years.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why I would never support him in a million years. Before he ran for president, he actually voted with Republicans to put a stop to a Bernie Sanders pharmacy bill that would allow Americans to legally go into Canada, buy cheaper prescription drugs, and allow for the U.S. government to negotiate for lower drug prices for Medicare patients, and he voted with the Republicans to put a stop to that. And I'm thinking, no, fuck him. You know, if he's going to do that to something as basic as prescription drug reform, he's going to be he's just going to be another Bill Clinton, another Barack Obama, another Joe Biden, as it turned out. So. He's grandstanding.
Well, considering how often so many members of Congress have had COVID, he probably will end up being senile like Joe Biden, except he won't have the benefit of age to serve as an excuse.
Yeah. So there's
a reason Holocaust terrorists can't speak without a teleprompter. Part of it's brain damage from COVID. Part of it is her probable alcoholism. Because if you notice some of her public behavior recently, she's been hitting the sauce.
Yeah.
But she's also the
bottle too much.
Who is so afraid of giving a direct answer to any question that she'll immediately launch into incomprehensible word salad that avoids actually providing a solid answer.
Yeah.
And half the time it won't even address the question being asked.
Well, she was propped up by Hillary Clinton anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason Biden chose her as VP was to sabotage any efforts to remove him from running from re-election.
Yeah, I figured that they would wrap him up.
Yeah, I figured so. I figured so as well. Makes sense.
Yeah, because I think, back during the 2020 campaign when Biden still had a few moments of lucidity, he realized that Obama was pretty much trying to set him up to be the nominee, really to only thwart Bernie Sanders and preserve his own degenerate legacy, because Biden was his VP candidate. But he also understood that Obama, I think he understood Obama would fuck him over at the earliest opportunity, which he did. And so when he had input into selecting the VP, he picked the one person who, if that candidate ended up replacing him on the ticket last year, that person would have no hope and chance, no hope or any chance of winning. And that was a Holocaust heiress, someone who's already violent in her own home state. She had to drop out before even a single ballot was cast because polls were showing she would not only lose the primary in California, but probably do it by double or triple digits. She's that universally low. The only reason people in California turned up to vote in 2020 was because they wanted to get rid of Kamala Harris. Just like people here in Ohio only turned out to vote to put J.D. Vance in office because he was a fucking nightmare as senator.
Yeah.
Wanted him out of here.
Yeah. I remember J.D. Vance was talking all big shot when the East Palestine situation happened, saying that Norfolk Southern need to be investigated. But now, since he in office with Trump,
it was all talk. He had no intention of doing anything.
Yeah,
the
full of shit, man.
Podcasters, call him some kind of genius and hold up hillbilly elegy as some kind of definitive guide to hillbilly culture. It's like, no. He's a fucking idiot. First of all, he doesn't know shit, and two, that book was complete and absolute bullshit. Like, ask anyone who actually lives in the Appalachians. They'll tell you, no, he's full of shit. This is not how we live, and this is not why we live how we live. We live this way because we're poor. We're poor because you shipped all the manufacturing jobs to places like China, Mexico, Malaysia, wherever, so you could avoid paying us a fair wage and get around labor laws and environmental regulations.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
And he destroyed our communities through pollution so that we can't do any real farming.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're in a mess. That's basically what we are. We're in a mess. We need a revolution. I don't know what can spark it, but we need something.
Yeah. Speaking of revolution, people talking about a general strike, organizing a big general strike in 2028.
Do it now or not at all.
Exactly. I mean, do you think this is like the last non-violent attempt before things get awry?
We missed that window a long time ago.
I mean,
we missed it in 2000 when the Supreme Court selected George W. Bush to be the dictator.
Actually, he was, in my view, was the worst president we ever had in my life. Some ways worse. Yeah, in some ways, I think the evil that Trump is committing really kind of started with George W. Bush, because
it absolutely did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Caitlin Johnstone, God bless her, I respect her to hell, but she acts like a lot of this stuff is like happening like as some kind of new development. It's like, were you even paying attention from 2001 to 2009 when Bush was in office? Where they locked up Judy Miller because she wouldn't cooperate with the investigation into the outing of a CIA officer.
Yeah,
simply because her husband called bullshit on uranium yellowcake lies. If they're willing to do that to one of their own, someone who generally supports them and acts as their stenographer, obviously they're going to lock up Julian Assange for doing journalism and exposing war crimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
Snowden too. I was at Snowden. I used to conclude my show with free Julian Assange. Now I concluded with Ed Snowden, free Ed Snowden. But when they freed Julian Assange, that was like totally out of the blue. I never expected to see that happening. I kept pinching myself to see if I was dreaming.
Yeah, I was surprised that they got him to actually plead, because he's the kind of guy who will stand on principle and be a stubborn asshole and not budge. But yeah, that the reason why nothing was done to get him out of prison during the entire Biden regime was because Biden was one of the chief assholes in the Obama regime pushing for Assange's prosecution in the first place. So there was never any chance of getting him pardoned or even the charges dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the election, in the interim between that and Biden being sworn in, people like Misty over at who's like one of the doorknob adjacent podcasters, they were pushing Trump, who had Assange hauled out of the embassy in London and put in prison. They were trying to get him to pardon Assange. It's like, are you fucking stupid? You're asking the guy who put him in prison in the first place to pardon him for what?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I'm just glad he's freed because what he went through at Belmarsh.
Yeah, Belmarsh is where they send people if they want to break you.
Mm-hmm. Torture you, yeah.
Yeah, that's Britain's on Guantanamo.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Although at this point, I think Cuba should storm Guantanamo and shut it down, kick everyone out.
I agree.
They should.
Yeah. Get a Russian and Chinese warship both to go in there and say, look, the Cubans want you out. You're out. Because seriously, what are we going to do? Half our military is out with COVID or so brain damaged and disabled by COVID that it's incapable of functioning. The United Kingdom can't staff its naval vessels because so many people have been disabled from COVID.
Yeah.
Not to mention that our ships are falling apart because they were never made all that well to begin with. Like Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, they're not only catching up, but they're even surpassing us in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't even have the manpower or the equipment to do shit if Russia and China decide, okay, we're going to back Cuba up in pushing you out of their country. And you're not going to do a goddamn thing about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And people think that United States should go to military war with China. Like China will whoop our ass.
Yeah, plus it's a nuclear power. It's like it's like with Russia. It's like Russia has more nuclear weapons than the United States.
Or with the United States
nuclear stockpile on the planet.
Threatening to go into Iran, for example. I mean, you talk about that's a hornet's nest waiting to happen right there.
And I think Iran should get the bomb just to deter Israel, because you know what? North Korea got the message. You know, once they invaded Iraq, once they destroyed Libya, it's like, no, we're getting the bomb. Who's talking about?
The United States will do it anyway. The United States will fuck another country anyway.
Yeah, so I think Tehran should just say, you know what, look, guys, we appreciate what you're trying to do to help us, but we need to develop these nukes so that we can deter Israel from attacking, so that we can deter the United States or one of its other proxies from attacking.
Well, here's the thing about Iran.
Because look what happened to Syria.
When they did the peace treaty with Iran in 2015, and here's the thing about that peace treaty, it was working, and Trump pulled the U.S. out of it because he wanted to appease two factions of the Republican Party. One, the secular Bush-Cheney style neocons, and the evangelical Christians who share the same foreign policy initiatives as the Bush-Cheney neocons. Because what the latter group wants to see is Iran and Israel toss nuclear weapons at each other, toss nukes at each other,
Mhm.
and the world as we know it. So,
Yeah,
uh,
so they can usher in what they think is a second coming of Christ. It's like,
right, they're more
why? So you
dangerous.
can
They're
crucify
more
him
dangerous.
again?
They're the most dangerous strand of Zionism. To tell you the truth, the Christian Zionists.
Yeah.
Yeah, the worst.
Yeah, they're the worst. Yeah. If there's anything worse than Netanyahu, and you can't get much worse than Netanyahu, it might
Think of it
be
too.
Christian Zionists,
Mm-hmm.
and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
But,
yeah. Any last words?
um,
Whitney, Mike?
yeah. Um, I'm glad to be here. I'm just, I'm I'm not as alert as I need to be because I work graveyard shift, but I was still glad to be here just the same, and I hope to be back.
But just look at it this way. If you get a job overseas, you won't have jet lag because you're already used to being up at night
That's
when
true.
it's daytime over there.
That's true.
That's true. Of course, I have less than 6 years. I won't have to worry about any shift at all at work because,
I don't blame you.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a job that pays me enough to move to the Philippines or Japan or China because my fiance is in the Philippines. So if we get married, we can live somewhere in China or Japan, and send money to her family to help them out. But right now that there's a huge demand still for English teachers in other countries, and they'll pay, well, I would say fairly decent for what's for over here, but over there because the way their currency is valued, it will afford you a pretty good wage.
There you go. Yeah.
So they're making upwards of $2,000 a month, 20 a month. There may not be much over here, but over there you can more than afford a very decent sized 1-bedroom apartment.
Oh yeah.
A lot
Yeah,
bigger than
Listen.
we have over here.
yeah. I know somebody that teaches English in Russia, and she likes it. She actually likes it over there. So,
Mhm.
and she's from North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get my TEFL certificate, which, if I start my new job, I'm going to have to work out a schedule where I can get that finished up because I've got till like September 10th or something. I want to get it done by July, but I'm going to have to really accelerate that and get a move on that.
So anyway, I'm probably going to go ahead and get some sleep very soon.
Yeah.
It's my night off, so but I'm
Don't
going
blame
to
you.
nap a little bit longer. And listen, I appreciate being here. Sorry about the computer problems earlier tonight.
Oh,
You
it happens,
good.
man.
You good, man. You good. You
Yeah.
good.
So
Stuff happens.
yeah,
Um,
I'll figure out what happened. It's some kind of rational explanation.
yeah. Where can people find you, Willie?
Oh yes, I'm on the Willie Bragg Show on YouTube. Just type in Willie Bragg on the search engine. You'll find me right away. And I'm on Twitter as well. Willie Bragg over there, and let's see, I'm on Rumble, but I don't really use that channel too often. And I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitch. So
Yeah, I was trying to get out to Rockfin, but they won't even respond to emails.
Me too.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
I'm even on Blue
Rockfin,
Sky.
yeah, Blue Sky.
Sky.
Yeah, I'm over on Blue Sky too.
Yeah.
Just follow the transphobe labels that get put on there, and you should be able to look me up on there. Yeah, because they've got these cliques over there where they'll add like pretty much anyone onto there, whether or not they to be on the list or not. It's like you wonder why you're having problems getting allies. It's because you keep excluding people who would otherwise have your back. And so we gravitate towards other activists who aren't complete morons.
Exactly.
Yeah, everybody needs to
Exactly.
be organized smarter, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
That's true.
this is there was this non-binary person on YouTube who explained neopronouns and why you should use them, and uh, made a very salient point is that it's actually a form of internalized transphobia to try and police what personal pronouns others use, because then you're denying those people uh, their preferred pronouns.
Actually,
Right. So
I got blocked about a decade ago from somebody because there was somebody that kept on referring to Ann Coulter. There was people calling her a trans gender woman, and she was getting offended by it. And she said she will sue the next person that calls her, a transgender woman.
Man
I said,
culture, yeah. Well, she does look a bit mannish, but then again, so do have the women in England, and they were born women.
well,
Exactly.
I said maybe we'll have to start a campaign to keep calling her that. I don't think it's an insult to call somebody a transgender woman. Call her that. And somebody
Me
said,
either.
"Well, you're being transphobic." Block. Okay, you know they didn't even understand what I was doing. I was doing this from a pro transgender perspective,
Yeah, it's
and
like why are you right? It's like yeah, I don't like using trans as an insult because I never really liked it when people called her man culture because it's like okay, first of all, yeah, that's insulting to trans people, so don't do it. But I'm not going to block someone over it. I might put that person on mute.
Right.
you know,
But uh, but yeah, it just goes to show it's like there's this tendency to like try and police what people call themselves, and it's like no, don't do that.
yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah, and what people talk, what's really interesting. I got to go in a sec after this thought. There are people that are acting like wokeness is being weaponized, like it was 10 years ago or something, and you hear the right wing and the people who are weaponizing it is the right wing themselves. You
Yeah,
know,
and I don't think Hollywood has been woke really since the 1990s.
Yeah, I mean, and who cares? Who cares if the mermaid's black? Who cares if Snow White is Hispanic? I mean, it wasn't an issue to me either way. I mean,
Well,
Same
I
here.
do it in the sense that I think it's a cynical tokenism that actually discourages actual wokeness and representation. Because instead of race swapping or gender swapping an established character, you could be doing an original one that adapts existing mythology that's been previously ignored by Hollywood. But with this tokenization, it's basically Hollywood saying, we don't care enough about your mythology, your culture, your original characters enough to adapt it because we don't think people will want to buy it. So we're just going to take the lazy way out and swap out some other existing character. Never mind that you never asked us to or that you didn't want us to. But it's kind of a way to prevent actual woke representation in Hollywood.
yeah. When they talk about the Hollywood left, and I'm like, okay, when was the last time Hollywood talked about union organizing, and when was the last time they talked about economic inequality? I mean, it gets
Well,
rare.
6 years ago, that there was an episode of Doctor Who where the Doctor basically was like defending evil space Amazon, which was depicted as the good guys, and the displaced worker who lost his job to automation was depicted as the wacko activist who's trying to blow people up for reasons.
Oh, I haven't seen that. But I'm a Doctor
Yeah, it
Who
was
fan.
called Kerblam was the episode, and it's like, are you seriously fucking defending space Amazon? And this is what we're expected to believe is woke?
Which actor or actress was playing the
Jodie
Doctor?
Whittaker.
Or was the Jodie Whittaker variation of the Doctor? Okay, yeah, I have not. I mean, I don't have Netflix. I don't have cable currently, so it's been years since I've seen any contemporary Doctor Who. And
Well,
I was
I've seen it on Ocean Voyages, but Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like coming from the background that I do, and having watched enough films from the Hollywood Renaissance and television from the 60s and 70s, especially stuff like pretty much most of the stuff that Norman Lear produced, and how that influenced politics and other shows, ranging from Quincy, MD, to the Incredible Hulk, uh, to even like the Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman, or they had to do episodes where it got political, or they addressed some social issue, and that lasted well into the 1980s.
It's funny you mentioned Norman Lear because Norman Lear was in England in the 1960s, and he saw a TV show called "Till Death Us Do Part," and a couple short years later, it got Americanized into All in the Family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there was another adaptation of another show that became Sanford and Son, although somebody claimed that he'd stolen it from a black man, and I looked into it, and it's like, no, there's actually several adaptations outside of England for that show, and it's kind of as clear cut whether Norman Lear stole the idea from this black writer, or if he simply adapted a different version of that show.
Yeah, so and I grew up on Norman Lear shows. I mean, it played a small role in my political evolution. It played a little bit of a role in there. So, it's funny what little things in life can plant a seed in your mind. Not indoctrinated. I made my own decisions, but certain things that you see a perspective and you appreciate that perspective, and you see how it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like if you watch works of Pat H. Chayefsky, such as The Hospital with George C. Scott, or Network, the kind of stuff that if you watch that as a kid or even as a young adult, it's going to affect your political evolution, because you're getting that stuff early on, where you actually see what television and wokeness were like before it got co-opted by the Democrats into identity politics.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you don't have when you don't when you have neoliberalism without when class analysis is completely gutted out, even at university levels. I don't know if y'all familiar with Due Dissidence. I watch that a lot. Yes. And Russell was saying, for example, with the universities and everything, heavily investing in the arts and everything. And, you go to a place like Starbucks, you would never see a hammer and sickle on a cup from Starbucks.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the moment you start talking about class, it kind of changes everything, and it's a game changer. I mean,
and the moment you start suggesting, well, you know what, race and gender and sexual orientation politics are inextricably linked to class, because if you think these groups are not together the vast majority of the working class, you might just be full of shit like Jimmy Doorknob.
Well, here's the thing about it with the whole gay liberation movement is intrinsically linked to the left. Like, for example, the Soviet Union under Lenin's government was the first government in the world in modern times to decriminalize and legalize homosexual relationships and all of that. I mean, they didn't have gay marriage or anything like that, but they were like, we simply don't care if gay people exist, and they can do whatever the hell they want to do, which was a good thing. But even further
100 years later, man, how far Russia has fallen. But
and you even go further back to the 1890s, when they were a little more militant. The Social Democratic Party of Germany was like the first political party in the world to have a pro-gay, lesbian rights part added to their platform. campaign manifesto or whatever
Yeah.
it is that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I actually found that out this morning, by the way. So
Yeah, and interesting thing about Cuba, Fidel Castro initially had cracked down on homosexuals until he went undercover through the prisons to try and gauge how the prisoners were being treated. And once he saw how gay people were being treated in the prisons, he was like, I made a mistake. So he spent the rest of his life trying to undo it. And I'm sad that he didn't live to see the culmination of his life's work when Cuba rewrote the Constitution to redefine the family to include marriage rights and all the other stuff that comes with it for the LGBTQIA community.
yeah, and talk about a country that gets kicked around. I can't
Yeah.
think of a country that gets kicked around more than Cuba, and they have persevered.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Guys, I have to go because I have to get some
All
sleep.
right.
Yeah. Good night, man.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Thanks for listening to us ramble on.
Oh no, that's okay.
All
Y'all
right.
put up with me rambling, so
Oh, you
y'all
good? You
take
good?
care. All right.
All right,
bye-bye.
you too, man.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that wraps it up. Episode 12 of the A&M podcast. Any last words, Mike?
None that I can think of off the top of my head, except tune into my new shaving channel, Blade and Brush, on YouTube. Yeah, I started it a few weeks ago. I've been mulling over it for years, but I've been shaving with a safety razor since 2017. I haven't looked back. I haven't used a cartridge razor since then. So
Yeah.
if you like just random thoughts poured out onto the tube while somebody shaves, there's a whole world out there for people who do that.
Yeah. I need some shaving tips myself, man. So I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Well, you'll
And also-
learn a lot. I'll direct you to some shaving channels that I subscribe to. But ladies, there are channels out there for you too. It's not just
yeah.
for guys. There are women who do shave their faces, but will also shave their legs or whatever. And but the format is basically the same. It's just someone talking about random stuff while shaving.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like a one-on conversation.
Yeah, that's true. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the A&M podcast. Be sure to follow Mike on Twitter, left _ Indy. It's right here, by the way, on the bottom of your screen, left Indy, and the rest of the ATP Network crew. And be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel, the ATP Network, and also subscribe to Mike's shaving channel and his YouTube channel, The Left Independent. So, all right, Mike, man. I appreciate you doing this again, man. I really love hearing your perspectives and stuff every week. I learn something new. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, thanks. I learned from you too. I may not seem like it, but no, I learned a lot from you too.
Okay, appreciate it, man. All right, Mike. Take care, man.
Yeah, you too.